Imagine you are at home. Your phone buzzes and you see an unfamiliar number. You answer, and the voice on the other end is polite, professional, reassuring. Before you know it, you've handed over personal details, and your life savings vanish instantly. It happened to my elderly relative in Russia just days ago. But this wasn't a random crime. This is part of something far larger, a hidden industry thriving across Russia. Phone scams in Russia aren't just widespread. They are an epidemic, a sophisticated and ruthless system that targets millions. And the deeper we dig, the more it reveals a disturbing truth about Russian society today. My name is Elvira Bary. I was born in the Soviet Union, and today we are going to uncover exactly how Russia's massive phone scam industry operates, who's behind it, and why no one seems able or willing to stop it. If you've ever received a strange call, felt vulnerable, or thought it could never happen to you, stay with me, because this is exactly what you need to know. The exact numbers are impossible to pin down. Some say billions of rubles are stolen every year. No one really knows, since the statistics aren't reliable. But what everybody does know is this: scam calls are everywhere in Russia. Every bank has warning banners. Every news site publishes horror stories. People warn each other like neighbors sharing news about a natural disaster. According to Izvestia, 90% of Russians have encountered phone scammers, 9 out of 10. I've asked everyone I know in Russia, and all of them, without exception, have been targeted at least once. Some fell for it, some didn't. Still, most victims never report the crime. They are embarrassed or convinced there's no point, because often there isn't. This is not petty theft anymore. It's not just some guy with a burner phone. This is a system, industrial, profitable, and terrifyingly efficient. At first, people thought only the naive could fall for it. The elderly, the gullible, the slow. But every one of us is naive in the right moment. A friend of mine, a completely rational, educated man, was heading off on vacation with his family. Luggage packed, kids bouncing in the back seat, his wife annoyed about something. Stress was in the air. Then the phone rang. A woman claiming to be from the power company said the electricity bill hadn't been paid. Unless he paid right now, they'd cut power to his home. My friend imagined his fridge melting while they were away, food rotting. He was ready to pay. Only at the very last second did he hesitate. Something clicked and he hung up. They caught him at that moment of stress and distraction. That's the trick. They don't need you to be stupid. They just need you overwhelmed. Millions of scam calls go out every single day in Russia. Somewhere, someone is always stressed, distracted, or vulnerable. Scammers prey on trust, panic, and instinct. Some schemes are crude, others sophisticated enough to fool even the rich, the famous, and supposedly untouchable. Take Larissa Dolina, one of Russia's most well-known singers. She lost over $2.5 million after scammers convinced her to sell her apartment and transfer both the proceeds and her savings to a safe account. Actor Sergei Astafyev was targeted too. He was told criminals had taken out a loan in his name. He had to act immediately, or risk losing everything. And so he did. But you don't need to be famous to get that call. This scheme is everywhere in Russia, usually following the same script. It starts with a call from someone who sounds important. Your boss's boss, a prosecutor, something high up in the security service. The tone is official, language legal, and it feels legitimate. They say your bank account has been compromised, claiming Ukrainian hackers intend to use your account to fund the Ukrainian army. Suddenly, you are not just a victim. You are a potential traitor facing 20 years behind bars. Given how little trust there is in the state, it's easy for people to believe they could be blamed for someone else's crime. And that's exactly when the hook lands. The official calmly says an FSB officer will contact you. Someone who can help secure your funds by transferring them to a special account. It works because the details feel real. Actual employee names, recent transactions, even your passport data. In Russia, personal information is for sale. The bureaucracy collects everything, and someone always sells it, not for much. Another popular scam is the relative in trouble. You get a call in the middle of the night. A trembling voice says your grandson has been arrested or injured. An officer explains, he hit someone. There are medical bills. We can make this go away, but you need to pay. And in that moment, terrified, half asleep, you do. Since the war began, a new fear has taken root: conscription. Scammers pose as military officials. They say your son or you are about to be drafted. For a small fee, they can delay the paperwork. Parents pay wherever they can. What's one more bribe if it keeps your child out of the trenches? Now, there's a modern twist. Scammers use artificial intelligence to mimic voices. Just a few seconds of audio scrapped from social media generates a full fake message. It sounds exactly like your daughter, your boss, or a celebrity you admire. When that familiar voice begs for help, who wouldn't listen? They have a script for every fear and tactic for every emotion. No matter who you are, they know how to find your weak spot. The prime targets are the elderly. They grew up in a country where authority's voice was sacred, unquestioned. They answer unknown numbers, follow instructions, many living alone, starved for conversation and human warmth. That's all it takes. But scammers don't stop there. They target the Russian diaspora, people abroad who still carry a fear of bureaucracy. A call from a bank officer or consulate sends them into panic. Or worse, your cousin back in Russia has been arrested and needs money now. But the real gold mine is people who think they are too smart to be scammed. Middle-class professionals, educated, well-traveled, confident. The kind who believe it would never happen to me. And that's precisely when they are most vulnerable. Scammers buy leaked databases, knowing who just got their pension, made large withdrawals, booked flights. Perfect for a mobilization scare. Then they tailor the fear. But not all scams are about fear. Some target desire, a better life, a thinner body, a child's future, a second chance at love. People empty savings for miracle diets, elite tutoring, promised matches with high-value partners, too busy clinging to hope to notice red flags. One of the most disturbing stories I've heard came from a woman in her 70s who'd lost all her teeth, embarrassed by dentures. A dentist told her implants cost $4,000. Her pension barely $200 a month. She hesitated, got anxious, blood pressure spiking. They gave her a pill to calm her. When she regained clarity, she'd signed loan paperwork, a bank loan at 30% interest, for teeth she never truly agreed to. The dentist had already started the procedure. She couldn't back out. When she complained, he shrugged, saying, "Talk to the bank. They already paid me." The bank sent her to their legal department, and threats began. She couldn't afford a lawyer or the loan. But it didn't matter. She owned an apartment. That was enough. When she died, the loan would claim her property outright. A calculated theft, disguised as a contract. This woman was lucky. Relatives stepped in and paid. But how many others have no one to help? Even Westerners become targets. Go on international dating sites. They exclude Russians not because of politics, but because of scams. Long before the war, Western men were emotionally manipulated, financially drained by fake Russian girlfriends. A UK man paid over £25,000 to a woman he never met. Sick grandmother, broken phone, visa problems, always a reason. Eventually, she disappeared, leaving him with debt and shame. Now scammers use dating apps to lure foreigners into fake investments. They flirt, build trust, casually mention a crypto opportunity. The foreigner invests and loses everything. Ask a Russian who's behind the scam epidemic, and many will say the same thing. It's the Ukrainians. And yes, there are scam calls that come from Ukraine. Some phone farms operate in war-torn territories or in areas beyond government control. But most of it is homegrown. At the center of it all are organized criminal networks, tightly structured, well-financed, and often protected from above. Here's how a typical scheme works. A small call center is set up in a rented apartment or inside a prison. More on that in a moment. The operators call dozens of people an hour, following a script refined through thousands of successful scams. When someone takes the bait, the call is transferred to a supervisor, a more experienced actor posing as a senior official or bank representative. Once the victim agrees to transfer money, the funds bounce through a chain of accounts and crypto wallets until they disappear completely. The local police? No. Sometimes they look the other way, sometimes they get a cut, and when a case does go public, it's often a smaller fish, a disposable face, someone easy to sacrifice for the appearance of justice. The real bosses stay untouched. Not all scammers work from high-end setups. Some are teenagers recruited through online ads that promise remote work with flexible hours. I once spoke to one of them. He was about 15, from a small town in central Russia. No laptop, just a phone. His task was to pose as a potential buyer interested in my YouTube channel. He tried to manipulate me into handing over my login credentials under the pretense of a business deal. Once inside, his handlers would take over, threatening the owner, blackmailing them, or selling the account to the highest bidder. I asked the boy why he did it. He said he didn't care about consequences. His mother was sick. His father drank heavily. And he just wanted to live like a normal kid. Play games, buy sneakers, not think about the rest. There are thousands like him, too poor to care, too young to fear, and too desperate to stop. I was told about a scam operation that was run like a proper company, but with one goal: targeting Western clients. There were bosses, office desks, and a full infrastructure. They hired attractive female students who spoke foreign languages well and provided them with detailed scripts on how to attract wealthy foreigners and gradually extract money from them. The women had schedules, hourly pay, even health insurance. To them, it wasn't a crime. It was just a job. A safe one, too, because no one was ever going to arrest them for what they were doing. They mostly targeted older, lonely men, pretending to be romantically interested. And once trust was built, they began to ask for money. And then there's the darker part of all, the penal colonies. Scam operations run straight out of Russian prisons, often with more professionalism than any call center on the outside. Inmates are given cell phones, scripts, and target lists. They sit in the shifts, dialing one pensioner after another. They are trained like salespeople, but What they are selling is fear and desire. Sometimes prison guards are bribed to supply phones and shield the operation. In other cases, they are not just complicit, they are running the show. Some former inmates say they were given daily scam quotas and punished if they didn't deliver. Officially, the Russian government says it's cracking down on phone scams. There are hotlines, awareness campaigns, and even televised arrests. Masked officers burst into dingy apartments and drag out call center operators in their sleepers, all in front of the cameras. But nothing really changes because in Russia, law enforcement often operates like a low-budget performance. All spectacle, no substance. All of this plays out in a country that boasts one of the world's most advanced digital banking systems. Transfers are instant. No credit cards needed. You can send money in seconds. No fees, no friction. But with that speed comes danger. Because once you hit send, it's gone. Forever. Banks rarely reimburse victims, and victims themselves are often blamed and ridiculed for being gullible. There's no institutional caution, just the hard flow of personal responsibility. Over time, this changes people, not just their behavior, but their wiring. You stop answering unknown numbers. You assume every message is a trap. You question every request, every voice, every offer of help. All of this is layered on top of a much deeper issue, one that has existed for centuries. Russia has a trust problem, a massive one. People assume that those around them are trying to harm them, and the state assumes that its citizens are thieves and freeloaders. This mutual suspicion runs so deep it has shaped the country's entire bureaucratic culture. That's why every document in Russia must be stamped, notarized, and stitched together with string. You can cross out a mistake. You need to redo the entire form. I have a law degree, and when I moved to the US, I was shocked by how casually people treat contracts here. You can cross something out and rewrite it by hand. You don't need a stamp. Wills don't even have to be notarized. No one signs every single page of a multi-page agreement because no one assumes those pages will be secretly swapped out. In Russia, scamming in its modern form is just another symptom of this deeper disease. It's not rooted in some uniquely bad Russian character. It's the logical outcome of a society where the state, for centuries, has blocked legal paths to success. Think of serfdom, the state monopoly on foreign trade, or the endless layers of permits and permissions required for even the simplest business. For generations, the only way to survive was to cheat the system, bend the rules, find loopholes, take care of your own, and forget the common good. That survival logic never disappeared. It simply evolved. The scam epidemic we see today is not an anomaly. It's a reflection of how Russian society functions. A mirror held up to a country where everyone expects betrayal, prepares for it, and when given a chance, prey on one another. That constant, grinding distrust doesn't just erode relationships. It drains the entire system. It's a tax on the nation, not just in money, but in time, in energy, in faith. Because in a place where no one trusts anyone, everyone pays. When the state can't or won't stop the scammers, the people find their own way. And in Russia, as always, that way begins with humor. YouTube and TikTok are flooded with clips of ordinary people pranking scammers. It's become a kind of national sport. Mock the mockery. Turn the trick back on the trickster. Some fake accents and pretend to be overjoyed. Finally, foreigners like me can get loans in Russia. What a beautiful day for democracy. Others switch to spiritual mode and deliver sermons. Money is a sin. I don't use it. My husband says women shouldn't handle bank accounts. It destroys feminine energy. There are those who demand special treatment. You may address me as Your Majesty. Now, tell me, how will this product help me in my quest for world domination? Some take the official route. Prosecutor's office. This call is being recorded. Please state your name and reason for calling. And my personal favorite. Darling, why haven't you called me in so long? I've missed you terribly. I had this fantasy, that you are locked in a prison cell, completely helpless, entirely at my mercy. If this exploration resonated with you, please like this video and share it widely so others can stay informed and safe. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the hidden realities shaping Russia today. For those wanting to support even further, consider becoming a member of my think tank or simply buying me a coffee. All links are provided in the description below. If you want to dive deeper into Russia's complex, often hidden history through powerful storytelling, check out my other channel, Elvira Bary, Forbidden Books, where you'll find captivating historical fiction, fantasy, and psychological thrillers that reveal the human truths behind official narratives. Thank you for being here.